just don't see it any other way. I'm too weak to make the climb. I need a miracle this time. That's when.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of Afternoon Drive Home on IC radio station in the town of Geraldine, Alabama, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, and worldwide on Abundant TV, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Again, thank you so much for watching the show every day, Monday through Friday. We'd just like to go ahead and give you some money-saving tips and a few how-tos. If you run out of food, you know the supply chain has really went down the tubes the past few months. And so I just wanted to give you some recipes on how to make particular things for your kitchen or household products, whatever, and so that you'd be able to have the things that you absolutely need, provided you have the things on hand that you need. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. How many of you like Velveeta cheese? I know I do. And I like Velveeta because it's, it's melts real easy, and it makes the absolute best cheese sandwiches, grilled cheese sandwiches. So I'm going to show you how to make a Velveeta type cheese, and you're really going to love this. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. It won't take that long to do. You just need to have a food processor. Mine is pretty big. It's a, I'm not sure how many cups that is. I think it's probably about 8 cups, something like that. And make sure that it's good and clean. Oh, and by the way, always make sure when you're cleaning the food processor, take it apart every single time you use it, okay? And make sure you get it good and clean on the inside. I like to soak mine in vinegar, water, warm soapy vinegar water, and also this thing right here, that needs to be cleaned. Also on the inside, you'll see there's a little hole right there, and food particles could get stuck in there, so make sure you got some kind of a toothbrush or some kind of a brush that you can take in there too and clean that total inside out. It wouldn't be a bad idea to go ahead and get boiling water as well, and just put in some boiling water every few times that you've used it as well. Okay, so I'll go ahead and put everything back into place. Now mine also has a pulse. It's an on-off pulse. Now this is going to make a lot of noise, okay? So just wanted to remind you of that. Let's go ahead and put this on, and let me go ahead and move my mouse pad so maybe you can get a little bit better view of how I'm going to do this. Okay, and let's go ahead and move this around kind of like so. Okay, and maybe you get a better view. Okay, now how do I need to sit? Okay, here we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and put this in. By the way, welcome to my kitchen. This seems to be the hangout of everybody when they come over to the house. Okay, now what this recipe calls for is real simple ingredients, okay? You want to do 1.5 teaspoons of flavored gelatin, and that's what this is. So I went on ahead and I've got this ready. It's 1.5 teaspoons of unflavored gelatin. You also want 6 tablespoons of dry milk powder, and don't get the low fat. For it to do the best job, you really need to get the one that's full, okay? And I think the one I've got is, okay, it's whole milk powder. So make sure you do get whole milk powder. It just makes a huge difference. I tried it with skim milk once. It just didn't turn out right. Okay, you're also going to need 1 cup of boiling, 1 cup of boiling water. And then you're also going to need 2 cups of grated cheddar cheese. Okay, so you see it's grated up pretty good. So you'll need that. I'm talking that this is like the simplest thing you could ever do. Oh, and it wouldn't hurt. Now this is actually what you can make soap out of right here, and it's silicone. Okay, so it's silicone, so you can see, and it's easy to clean, and nothing is going to stick to this. Make sure that it's nice and clean. Now, if you're cleaning it like I do, I'll clean it again right before I'm going to use it, and just make sure that if there's any water that you've wiped it all out. Make sure that it's totally dry. Okay, and this comes with a little top. You can put that on there as well. Now, another thing you can do is just get a loaf pan, just regular loaf pan, and just if you do that, make sure you use plenty of saran wrap. And what you want to do when you put the saran wrap in, overlap it. So get a pretty wide piece and put that on the inside of whatever your loaf pan is, and make sure that it overhangs. And also you're going to make sure it's really long, and then that way you can fold it over also when you put it into the refrigerator. You can use this, I like this cheese a lot. And so, oh, and make sure that there's some water there that I didn't get out. Make sure you got all the water off of it when you wash it, okay? That's very necessary. Now you can find these on Amazon, and they're called what people use when they make soap. So I've got some that I use for soap, and I've got some I use for cheese as well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and place this. This holds it all up sturdy, okay? All right, now, first thing you want to do, according to the directions, if you need to line your soap container, if you need to line it, go on ahead and make sure you get that done first, okay? Oh, and also make sure you get kind of the heavy duty type. I've got some of it right here that I like to use. It's a plastic wrap, but it's also a heavy duty, and that's really important because I've done it this way before. And see, it's not going to stretch much. The regular wrap will. You know, if you do this and it pulls, that's not the kind you need. You need the heavy duty, well, I can still call it a saran wrap, but it's actually plastic wrap. You don't have to get the saran wrap type, okay? All right, now we've done that. So what we're going to do now is you want to put the powder, the milk powder, and remember that's whole milk powder, okay? Again, I can tell you what not to do in life. Do not use skim milk powder. It just won't turn out right. So what we're going to do is combine the milk powder with the unflavored gelatin. Okay, just like that. We're going to combine them. And now the recipe says to go on ahead and put the dry ingredient in first. I want to tell you, it really works better if you'll put the boiling water in first. So that's what I'm going to do. So let's go ahead and measure out 1 cup. Now I've had this boiling, okay? I'm not really good at pouring water, so let me go ahead and pour it here. Okay, so we've got a cup of the boiling water. So I'm going to go ahead and pour that in first. See, that's pretty hot. And again, make sure that it is boiling hot water. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the powder mixture, milk powder mixture, and the unflavored gelatin in together. Move that over to the side. And what we're going to do is pulse it just a little bit. Now you can use your towel and make sure you've got it locked into place if there's a locking mechanism. And they should all have a locking mechanism. So anyway, make sure you do that. But what I like to do is get my towel and just kind of put it on the top like this because it's going to splatter. You don't want to get this all over your ceiling or all over your light fixtures. So another little tip, something else I learned the hard way. Okay, so let me just go ahead and pulse it like that. I want it good and mixed first. Now the next thing we're going to do is add the cheddar powder. You're going to love this. And also, it's a lot cheaper to make this than it is to buy it from the store, even the store brand. Now, the cheddar powder is kind of like, you know, you get your boxed macaroni and cheese. That's what it is, basically. But now, I found a company called Judy's. It's spelled Judees. And I really do like that company. And so you can get the cheddar cheese. You have to buy it online. And it's Judees.com. And this is real cheddar, okay? Because you can buy it, it's the imitation stuff. And if you buy the imitation stuff, that's not going to be exactly the same either. Let's go ahead and pulse it again, okay? All I want to do is just kind of mix it up. Just like that, okay? Now for the final ingredient, you're going to get a kick out of this. So I'm going ahead and add the cheese, and this is 2 cups. And what's going to happen is that gelatin is going to cause it to gel and it'll set up. Now, you can't eat it yet. You're going to need to literally let it set overnight into the refrigerator. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put it all in there. And you'll also need to kind of stir it around just a little bit too. Okay, that's all of it. There we go. All right, now let's go on ahead and pulse it again. I'm going to hold my hand over this, okay, so it doesn't splatter all over the ceiling. It's not fun to have to clean the ceiling when this stuff splatters. Pulsed it enough. So now let's go on ahead, and it's going to be really loud, okay? So you need to talk amongst yourselves while I'm doing this. I'm kind of liking that. I'm digging it, and I think you're going to dig it too. It smells good too. Now the difference is using skim milk. You want to do that. See how runny that is? I want to mix it just a little bit more because I can still see a few little particles in there of the powder. Okay, let's go ahead and run it again, okay? Okay, that's going to do, oh yeah, that's nice and creamy. Because you want to keep mixing it, and every food processor and every kitchen equipment is going to be different, you know. And so I'm going to go ahead and unlock it. And then I've got this ready right here, okay? And let's go ahead and move the camera down a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. And see how that pours in there? That's exactly what you want it to do. Get all that cheese. I think there is a grilled cheese sandwich calling my name. What do you think? And that's all you add. So you just put those ingredients together. Got some Velvetta type cheese, and this is better than the some cheaper grains that you could buy. It's just not the same, and I think they're probably using skim milk instead of whole milk. And I'm sure that's what it is. Get every little last drop of that you possibly can. And there you are. You got some cheddar cheese. It's good. So that's what it looks like. I can't bend it too much because it's still not. There you go. And just kind of shake it. Oh, and another thing you want to do is kind of pat it down. Kind of like we did with the cake the other day. You just kind of pat it down like that, and it'll get any of the bubbles out of it. All I got to do now, I'm not going to use this. I want it to seal better than using this top. So I'm going to put some aluminum foil around it. And I'm going to throw it in the refrigerator, and then we're going to be done. Now you guys kind of hang in there just for a few minutes, because in a few minutes I'm going to show you how to make some maple syrup. So y'all hang in there, okay? I'm going to be right back in just a few minutes.
About me, face your feet, shout my name, proclaim the victory. You've said your prayers, now take a stand, get up off your knees. You've told me about that mountain.
name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of Afternoon Drive Home. We just made some awesome cheese. And it's just like the Velvetta type cheese. So that's in the refrigerator right now. And so while we're waiting on that, I wanted to show you how to make maple syrup. If you've priced maple syrup here lately, it's very, very expensive. So what we're going to do is going to make our own syrup. And it's kind of like a sugar syrup. To get started, you got to boil it now for about 5 minutes. First of all, what you want to do is boil this for about 2 minutes, and then the remaining time. And really, the thickness depends on how much brown sugar you use. Let's go ahead and start combining ingredients. Okay, first of all, we want 1 cup of water, and I have already added the white sugar, so that's 1 cup of white sugar. Now, if you like a thinner syrup, you can add 1 cup of brown sugar and make it the dark brown sugar, but we like ours kind of thick, so I'm going to add 2 cups of the brown sugar. Now, I wanted to point this out about brown sugar. Make sure that it's not clumpy, okay? So this is, and make sure you pack it. That's another really important thing to do, is when you use your brown sugar and you're using measurements, if it calls for 2 cups, pack it in there, okay? So that's really important too. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and turn the stove on. Okay, now I'm not going to add the flavoring, and I'm going to show you what, it's not a flavoring, it's an extract. Now you're going to pay a bit more for an extract than you will for a flavoring. Okay, so I've got the stove eye on, and I really do like the flat stove, okay? It's, first of all, less messy, it's a lot easier to clean up, because I may get distracted and walk off somewhere else and forget I have something on the stove, and it could boil over. So this is just my preference. I've heard some people say, well, I don't know, I've heard that they don't heat as well as the other stove. But mine does. I mean, I can on it. I do all kinds of things on this stove. So we're going to go ahead and get it started to a boil. And I want to show you, first of all, that, see the sugars that are in there? We want that melted down, okay? And then we'll do it with boiling water. And then what we're going to do is put it in, you may not have a container big enough, but I'm going to think that it might boil down and fit a pint. And while I'm waiting on this to boil, let me go ahead and talk to you about flavorings versus extracts, okay? This extract is really from maple, okay? I mean, this is really part of it. It's not a flavoring. And you're going to get a more intense flavor. So remember this, when you're using a flavoring versus an extract, you'll use a lot less extract than you do the flavoring. So this recipe does call for 1 tablespoon of the maple extract. And I'm going to tell you, this smells really good. You know, we are beekeepers, and so I make sugar water, or sugar syrup is what we call it, for the bees. And so I get really hot water, and then I pour about a ½ cup of sugar inside of a quart jar. And then I like to put a little bit of maple. I think they like it. It may just be me, I don't know, but they take care of us, and they make plenty of honey for us. So I like to take care of them and give them what they like to eat too. And it's real simple. Then I don't put a whole lot in there, just a few drops. But now for the syrup here, we're going to use 1 tablespoon. And could use just a little bit more than that. And I'd like for you to share your recipes with me. If you got a favorite recipe, and I just like making my own stuff. First of all, you can save money. I'm going to save quite a bit of money by making my own maple syrup. Now, I found this on Amazon, and I'm thinking it was probably somewhere around $20. But I've had this over a year, and I've made a lot of stuff out of this. And look, I still have that much because you just don't use as much. Now, it does contain water, alcohol, natural, including the extracts of vanilla in there as well. And now they do have a caramel color in there. Okay. But this is the real deal. So we're going to get this thing to boil. It's going to boil for about 5 minutes. And it's going to be a thick syrup. Now, as you can see, I don't know if you can see this or not, but that is a brown, and that's what I wanted. Now, you can use the variations of brown sugar. If you want to use a light brown, you can do that as well. fun. And get your kids involved in stuff like this. It's teaching them chemistry. It's teaching them science as well. And this is super good on if you want pancakes or if you want waffles. It's good in all your food. Phil's been known just to put it on a buttered biscuit. He likes it that way too. Okay, let's keep up with what time it is because I want to make sure I don't run out of time. Okay, I've still got a little time. It always takes just a minute to use this thing to boiling. And you've got to make sure you do boil it for the 5 minutes, because if you don't boil it for the 5 minutes, it's going to get really sugary. And over time, now it doesn't last that long with us at this house, but if you don't boil it for exactly the 5 minutes, it's going to turn really sugary down at the bottom of it. Now, I do have a solution for that. So if it does get sugary down at the bottom of it, just add it. It depends on how much you have in there. So let's say you've got maybe half the container, maybe half a pint is turned kind of sugary like. You need to add a couple tablespoons of water and then put it in the microwave oven, and you need to really do this in intervals as well. So in 30-second intervals. Just to make sure, first of all, you don't overboil it. And then also, while you're doing this in the 30-second intervals, you want to be stirring it really good. Preferably with a wooden spoon, and I'll have to tell you why. And again, this is a Donna experience thing. Sometimes if you use a stainless steel spoon or a teaspoon or a tablespoon, and you're stirring it, and it's in a hot container, first of all, this is going to get hotter. But if you use just a regular wooden spoon, it's not going to get as hot. It's another reason I'm a cheerleader in this stuff. Okay, I think it's probably just about to start boiling. If you could just smell this kitchen, it smells all kinds of good. Now you've got to really watch it when it starts this boiling stage, okay? Because you don't want it to boil over. So I'm going to immediately turn it down. See, it's a rolling boil, and that's what you want. Now what you're going to do is move it from side, and then move it back again. Okay, so it's going to start boiling really heavy again. I'm going to move it off, and let me go ahead and set my timer. Okay, it's going to be 5 minutes. Okay, now we're going to do 3 minutes. And then at 3 minutes, that's when I'm going to go ahead and add the flavoring. Okay, I'm going ahead and turn this down just a bit more. You got to keep it at a constant boil though, so you don't need to walk away from the stove while this is happening. See, it's already boiling up again. Okay, and I like using this pan right here. This actually used to be my grandmother's, but what I like about it is there's really easy to clean. I'm not even sure what the name brand of this is. You can see it's avocado green back in the 70s when she got it. But I don't care what color it is. It cooks well. And there's a Dutch oven, and there's another saucepan, and then there's another small pan. It's not really a frying pan that came with this. And then of course the lids and everything that went on it. You're constantly stirring, okay, because you do not want this to scorch. Now, I'm not going to pour it up in the jar yet once it finishes the boiling stage, because I just want it to set in this pan just a little while. And we're going to be getting done in just a few more minutes. Okay, it's getting thicker already. Okay, looks like we've probably got just a few more seconds, and then I'm going to add this flavoring. See how easy it is to make syrup? You think you got to pay $5 or $6 for a small container of maple syrup, and you can make it yourself? Probably less than $1. I'm going to say way less than $1. Just a little bit of time, and that's no biggie. Okay, let's do 1 more minute and then I'll add the flavoring. Another thing you can do, when you're making candy, kind of like this, and you get a plate, you put it in the freezer and let the plate get really cold, and then you'll just get the syrup and just put it on the cold plate, and if it runs off too much, it's not ready yet. Okay, let's see, how much time do I have? Okay, just a few more seconds, and I'm going to add this. And I'm going to tell you why it is awesome. This is an awesome smell. This is by a company called Esco. You can go to escofoods.com, and that's ESCO foods.com. It smells good. All right, let's go ahead and add the flavoring. Now, it could pop just a little bit. Let's see, it boiled just a little bit. And it's kind of see, look, it's not boil up. It's because I've added this. Put that there. So you need to make sure you're watching it and make sure you catch it. Boy, it smells good. And see, that causes it to foam just a little bit. And that's why you want to wait until it's been boiling just about 3 minutes or so. So I'm going to turn it down just a little bit more. I bet I know what Phil's going to want for breakfast in the morning. Pancakes and maple syrup. See, it's already thickening up. And this is what did it. Make sure you put your lids back on. If you're like me, I could bump into it and knock it off, and then all that really nice extract would be gone. Okay, I'm going to put it back on the stove again. Got just a few minutes before the show ends, but I just wanted to show you how to do this. About a minute, 14 seconds before the show ends. So let's go ahead and do a recap. See, I almost got started talking to you and I forgot I had this on my eye. So what you're going to use is 1 cup of white sugar, 1 cup of water. I want my syrup to be thick, so I'm using 2 cups of brown sugar. Make sure it's the dark brown sugar. And then you want to boil it anywhere between, say, 5 and 8 minutes. Take it off the stove again because it wants to boil over. And then 1 tablespoon vanilla, not vanilla, but of the extract of maple. Okay, so make sure you use the extract instead of the flavoring. Thank you again so much for watching. It's just about time for me to end the show today. Hope you've enjoyed making cheese and maple syrup with me today. So you take care, and I look forward to seeing you just a little bit later.
Talking about me, face your feet, shout my name, proclaim the